Happy Friday Eve day to everybody. As you know how we do this, we've got Facebook and YouTube here on my laptop. Give me 1 second. I'm going to hop and check my Facebook group and just make sure we are actually live there as StreamYard says we are. 1 second. Come on now. There we go. Okay. I don't know if anybody else is on AT&T, but I'm surviving on Wi-Fi right now because AT&T is down apparently across the country. All right, YouTubers, if you're coming to us through YouTube, smash the subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos every single week. And if you're watching through Facebook, please go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give permission for StreamYard to show us your name on my StreamYard dashboard. Otherwise, when you comment, it just says Facebook user, and that's like, wah, wah, that's no fun. We want to know who you are, especially if you have questions as we go along. Today, my friend and my client, Tracey Goodwin, is here. She is a treat, y'all. You guys are going to love her. She is going to help us ditch the overwhelm that seems to want to attach itself to us, right? Because as entrepreneurs, that overwhelm can creep up behind you so unexpectedly and like just attach it to your hip before you ever even know what hit you. So today, Tracey is going to give us the goods on getting that thing off our hip and being able to toss it off into the next county if we need to. But just in case we have never met before, and this is the first time you are coming to me live during one of my trainings, I want to introduce myself to you. I am Tracey Beavers. I am an award-winning business and sales coach with over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. And several years ago, I just became completely and finally fed up with my corporate career. I had been fed up for a while, but there was a last straw situation and I hatched a plan to fully exit. And I'm going to share with you that once I did fully exit and I was able to focus fully on my business, back in my second full year of business as a business coach, I busted through the six-figure ceiling and I have not looked back. If you're building your business alongside a full-time job and you're wanting to fully exit, or maybe you're a solopreneur and you want to hit that big six-figure mark for the year, you can do this. You can build a six-figure business just like I have. I have coached hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you over the years to get the visibility you need for your business so you can grow your email lists and get that consistent monthly income you desire. As we go along, my friends, I want you to pop your questions and comments into the chat for us. We are going to check those at the end. And Tracey's an open book just like I am. And I just realized it's the Tracey show, Tracey and Tracey, except that she has a better spelling than I do. I always have like an IE or an EE or something like that. So anyway, it's the Tracey Squared Show. Let me introduce my friend Tracey. You're going to love her. So she is the owner of Tracey Bromley Goodwin Coaching, and she's the creator of the Lessen the Overwhelm Society. Okay, sign me up, right? Lessen the Overwhelm Society. This is a group coaching program for high achieving women. She is the co-founder of Navigating ADHD Incorporated and the co-recipient of the Mom's Choice Award for Navigating ADHD. Through her book, Your Guide to the Flip Side of ADHD. And that's how Tracey and I initially met, was when she was doing work with her program, her business, Navigating ADHD. She is a certified life, mindset, success, and alcohol-free living coach who specializes in ADHD and executive functioning. And she's been in practice for over 23 years. She's also Reiki 1 and 2 certified, and she believes in taking a very holistic approach to lessening the overwhelm, lessening the stress and anxiety so that we can live the life that we want to live. Tracey, welcome in. I'm so thrilled you're here. Is there anything you would like to add or share that I didn't already talk about?
No, just I'm so excited to be here and you're such an inspiration, truly.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
For that. I feel the same way about you. When we met and I was helping you with navigating ADHD, I was like, man, the work you're doing is such a blessing. And I'm equally as excited for this Lessening the Overwhelm Society because I know how gifted you are and I know how many lives you're going to change. So let's start talking about it, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
Okay. So first of all, I want to kind of go back for a second. How or why did you decide to focus on overwhelm in your new business? Can you tell us a little bit of the backstory coming into the online space? Because my audience always loves to hear about somebody else's entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, yeah. So over the years of working in the field of ADHD, I would have lots of clients come in that had a diagnosis or sometimes just have symptoms of ADHD. But across the board, the number one word people would use was overwhelm. Regardless, even regardless of age, really, it could be really young people saying that they felt overwhelmed. So personally, I was always really overwhelmed, and the kind of overwhelm where I don't think anyone would really notice on the outside, but the inside and in my mind was
Mm.
operating at this really hectic pace internally.
Okay.
So over the years, hearing overwhelm, overwhelm, more and more, I'd say over the past 2 years, I started working with a lot of women that were just so drained and feeling shame and guilt, like a lot. It would be the bulk of what we talk about is this like, I'm just not doing enough. And why can't I do it like my neighbor or the person at
Right.
the bus stop or the person who owns this business that I see on Instagram? And
Right.
just feeling this heaviness
Right.
was when I decided about a year ago,
Mm.
okay, I need to focus on this because I have figured out tools professionally that help my clients, but also personal experience felt like it was time to help people lessen overwhelm because it's such a terrible feeling when you're in it. And it doesn't have to be that way. Like you said, like you can get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not entirely because it's a natural human experience, but you certainly can lessen it a whole
Right.
bunch.
Right. So because of you, like it sounds like if you had a dime for every time one of your clients or patients said the word overwhelm, you'd like be retired by now.
Yeah.
So because of that and because of your own internal, like, and honestly, I didn't, when we were working together, I did not guess that. I mean, I knew there were
Mhm.
times when you were stressed and we had a lot to do, but you're right. I don't think anybody was able to tell from the outside. Um, Tell us, why do you think overwhelm is something that is so commonly experienced for everybody? I mean, you just said it didn't matter the age. It sounds like it doesn't matter the demographic, the income level, none of the, descriptors for the human race. It doesn't sound like, it sounds like it's something that just permeates all of us as humans.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think partially the expectations are so incredibly high of this, like being or place we're supposed to be at certain places in our life. So
Yeah.
I think there's complete unrealistic expectations. But more than that, I think there's a clouding over of our intuition, of that like deep part of ourselves that
Okay.
knows what to do or knows how we want to feel, but
Right.
it gets so covered with the daily stress of everything. It could be paying bills, it could be
Mhm.
carting your children around or someone you're taking care of.
Mhm.
It could be the responsibilities you have personally. And
Right.
I think it clouds that voice. And I think it's clouded it so much so
Right.
that people have lost a sense of what do I do besides like, I'm going at it again. Today is a new day and I'll figure it out. And I can't wait to go to bed. Like, and
Right.
collapsing.
Right.
So I think that's a big part of it.
Okay.
I think it's a big part of it.
Yeah. Well, how would you say that, when I'm thinking about overwhelm and hearing what you're saying about, so not only do we have a lot going on in our lives, but then we also, um, there's a lot going on in the media, there's a lot going on social media. And then we tend to play that comparison game of, especially as women,
Yeah.
of, okay, well, she looks like she's got her crap together. What's wrong with me? So like, do you feel like social media and our lifestyles now have created more overwhelm, and that's what's caused us to sort of dumb down our intuition, like you're saying, and then almost like not even remember we have one?
Yeah, yeah, I do. And I think it's because of the nature of social media and what we see. It's so multi-sensorial. Like you see it, you
Mhm,
hear it,
mhm.
you can feel it like energy wise if a post is like high energy or looks perfect or
Right.
low energy if someone's being really transparent about something hard. And
Right.
I think that that contributes to our overwhelm. And also that expectation that a
Mhm.
lot of times it just looks like everyone else is doing things with ease, where it's so not accurate. It is not accurate at all.
Right.
And the way our minds work, our conscious mind is that logical part of our mind is really only doing 5 to 10% of the work
Okay.
of what we're doing. 90% is subconscious. And in
Okay.
our subconscious, it's all that like belief stuff that we just have learned patterns or our reactions to what's happening around us. And so we're on autopilot, and I think can get really stuck in that idea that, well, I'm just an overwhelmed person. Like, this
Okay.
is how it goes. I run a business and I'm overwhelmed and I
Right.
have to keep trucking along.
Yeah.
And then we end up crashing, getting sick, being unhappy, all of these other things kind of spiral out of it.
Right.
But
And then we
I think you're right. I think it exasperates it with seeing it on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, the news, all of those things.
right. Wow, that's fascinating. I mean, I think I knew that we were only using 5 to 10% of our conscious brain, but just to hear you say it again, it just really does blow my mind that
Yeah,
that 90% autopilot is programmed from birth. And if we're carrying around a bunch of crap from childhood and things that we haven't worked through, then that's what's operating us every day. That's wild.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right? I know. I
Okay. So
know. And
yeah. So my
yeah.
audience loves tips. They love actionable strategies. So give us the goods, Tracey. I know you've got favorite strategies for lessening the overwhelm. I think you said you've got 3. Would you share those with us? Because my audience is going to want to hear this for sure.
Yes, yes. And it's funny when I think three is just that like number that feels like, yeah, three tips that will work really well.
Yeah.
There are so many different ones.
Mhm.
And all tips when dealing with overwhelm, they need to match your unique brain. So
I
you
love
want to take any tip
uh-huh.
and you want to think to yourself, okay, so how can I make this work for me and my
Mhm.
unique way of seeing and experiencing the world?
I love
So that, yeah, it's so important to do that because otherwise it's like none of this is about fixing anything or doing anything a specific way. It's about people being able to live the life they dream of
it.
without being bogged down.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that authenticity is important even when it comes to business building. I always say we've got to take all like you're saying, the tips and the strategies that we hear as entrepreneurs on how to build our business. Then we need to ask ourselves, what feels authentic to me? And then go forward with that. Because if we don't, we're not going to be successful. So it sounds like it's the same thing with regard to overwhelm and our brain and feeling better and healthier on a daily basis.
Yes, exactly. And one of my favorite tips for doing that or figuring out, so what does that mean and how do I do it,
Right.
is I always like to start thinking about what our values are.
Okay.
And, you can Google value exercise and you'll find a whole bunch of different ones.
Mhm.
But to narrow down on what are your 5 values?
Okay.
So things that are, deepest to you and that really create the person that you are.
Mhm.
If you can start there with overwhelm, you can frame all of your behaviors throughout the day, all of the decisions you have to make. You
Mhm.
can come back to those values and ask yourself,
Okay.
wait a second, does this fit into what I actually value?
Okay.
And just asking yourself that question alone, it can help you decide what to do. Am I
Mhm.
going to exercise or am I going to skip it today?
Okay.
Well, if one of your values is health, the decision is obvious. So it becomes more of that, like, I know I should because it's good for me.
Right.
It becomes more of this helps me live an aligned life and I actually feel better. And that's why, not really because you did the healthy thing. It's
Right.
because it matches what your internal intuition really wants you to do.
Okay. That
So
that
that's one of my favorites. So
that
I love doing that.
yeah, that's
Um, the second thing is I love brain dumps,
yeah.
and brain dumps can, they can look different for everyone. But my favorite way to do them when you're feeling super overwhelmed is to just grab a piece of paper, do it on notes on your phone,
Mhm.
set a timer for 4 minutes so that this is, especially if you have ADHD, your brain is not going to naturally want to do this
Right.
because a brain dump sounds like, I have enough to do. I'm already overwhelmed. I can't stop and write things down. That's
Right.
going to take all day. You limit yourself to 4 minutes.
Okay.
You put every single thing that pops into your head on paper.
Okay.
Regardless of how ridiculous or has nothing to do with any of your goals, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can use it to just clear your mind. When you're done at the end of that 4 minutes, you naturally will feel better
Okay.
because your mind is clear. There's another way to use it where if there's, let's say you're trying to come up with content and you're overwhelmed by thinking about it and breaking it down. You could set the timer for 4 minutes and whatever pops into your head again, if it has nothing to do with your content, it doesn't matter. You're clearing your brain.
I love it.
Yeah. And you can also use it as a to-do or priority mechanism where you set it for 4 minutes, you dump everything from your head that you have to get done. For some people, they can then look at that and feel like, I'm more overwhelmed than when I started. When that happens, you can just start crossing stuff off that you know is not going to be top priority. And from there, there's more you can do with any of that.
Right.
But the important thing is to not keep it in your head. And I think a lot of us keep it all in our head.
That's so helpful. I help my clients and students do that too, especially with regard to the content. I've got that exercise where
I
you
love that exercise.
90 days of content topics in only 30 minutes. It's all about brain dump. Just don't filter anything. Don't just let it all just bubble up. And I love what you're saying. It's like, if it's in your head, put it out on paper, just get it out. Because and the other thing that I like for them to do is when they have an idea about something, like, oh, I should do a podcast, or, oh, I should buy this course, or I should do this or that. Okay, brain dump it out and then park it somewhere. So it's out of your head and it's not taking up energy. So it goes along with not only just business, but now you're saying our life. Like if I'm thinking about the dry cleaning and the groceries and the car needs to go get new tires and I've got to go by the bank and my mom needs this and that and my, you're trying to be a caregiver and you're trying to be a wife and a mom and all the things, then just get it all out.
Get it all out. Exactly. And that, like, hearing you say all that stuff, like, I'm overwhelmed thinking of, there's so many things happening. So the next step with that is to not feel like you have to solve it in the moment.
I love that.
You do not, you could just do that brain dump for 4 minutes and you will be in a much better place than you were before you did it.
Right.
And you can allow yourself and give yourself grace to say, okay, I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow at the same time when I'm sitting in my car before an appointment, or I'm drinking my coffee or whatever. And you can do the next phase of it where maybe you're going to put numbers next to the order you'd like to get the things done in, or you're going to group tasks together.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's lots to do with that. But the idea, like you said, is it's everything. We can't operate when we have it all swirling in our head. We just can't.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay. So the 3 strategies, let's go back over them again. The first one was, I've already forgotten it. Isn't that terrible?
Yep. It's values. So connecting everything. So that really helps all of us that are indecisive. It can help so much with decisiveness because you can make every decision based on your values.
Got it.
So it helps.
And the second one was the brain dump.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And the third one, there's one more I can talk about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, is visualization.
Oh,
so we hear about this a lot, and there's a lot to visualization. So just to scratch the surface, it's impossible to lessen overwhelm if you don't have a vision of where you want to be and what you want your life to look like.
Okay, can you repeat that? Because powerful. I want everybody to hear that. Say that one more time, Tracey.
So it's impossible to lessen overwhelm if you don't have a clear vision of where you want to be in your life.
Oh my gosh. And
All aspects of your life.
I know Jill is listening, my assistant. Jill, let's make a quote graphic quoting Tracey, and let's use that on social and tag her, because that's brilliant. Okay, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Because when you think about it, we all kind of like go through life and think like, yeah, I picture this beautiful morning routine and it's peaceful and everything goes just so. And
Right.
that's fine and that's helpful.
Right.
But if we don't really picture, like, what is this that I want my life to look like
Mhm.
and feel like? So
Mhm.
again, it goes back to that multisensorial kind of approach where you need to not only write down what you visualize, picture what you visualize,
Okay.
you need to think of, what does it smell like? What does it sound like? And what does it feel like in my body?
Okay.
And what that process helps us do is it helps us be and realize that some of these things are actually happening for us right now. Like for me, less overwhelm, if I'm thinking smell, means like it's some kind of candle or some kind of calming essential oil. Well, I can do that right now. I don't have to wait a year before I bring that into my life. It's happening. But
Yeah.
if I don't acknowledge it and really picture why I want that in my life,
Right.
I might skip right over it.
Yeah.
And then I stay overwhelmed.
Right. Well, and visualization, and you know this, you know more than I do about this stuff, but visualization is something that elite athletes practice.
Yeah,
I mean, like Michael Jordan, when he was playing, was constantly visualizing himself making the basket, making the basket, making the dunk, making the this, making the that, stealing all the things. And so why should we be any different just because we're not an elite athlete or an Olympian or something like that, right?
exactly. There's so much power to it. And it's actually our subconscious mind responds to that because it's very much visual symbols,
Right.
things that are creative. They're all living there. So if you can plant that visualization in there, it brings it more to fruition.
And isn't it true that the subconscious mind has to believe what we tell it,
Yeah.
whether it's a visualization or it's words?
Yes.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
then, based on what you said earlier, that we're running 90% on subconscious, we can actually reprogram and reset that 90% to work for us.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. I know it's amazing when you start thinking about it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know from helping clients do this that it works, and I know personally because I do it myself and I know it works.
Yeah.
So for my ADHD friends out there, this might, when we think of visualization, it feels like, I don't know if I can stop long enough or slow my brain down long enough to really get into that exercise. You
Right.
can draw it out. You could sketch it. You could do an abstract design. You could talk voice memo into your phone during the day, do it on your walk, make it work for your brain.
I love it. So either audio, listening to yourself,
Yep.
or visual, closing your eyes and visualizing, or like drawing it out, which is kind of visualizing.
Yes.
It all works.
It all works. It
I love
all works. Yeah.
it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So,
Yeah.
so much value you've just given us right here today. Tell us
Good.
about your Lessen the Overwhelm Society.
Yeah. So I decided that I wanted to be able to bring community to women that are experiencing this extreme overwhelm. So I kept thinking, how can I do this? Because I had lots of individual clients. And then I started thinking they need to meet each other. They need to be together so they can bounce ideas off and just understand that they're not alone. Because being really overwhelmed is, we're having a little construction on our house.
Are you all
in
right?
other places, and I think that wall just shut.
Are you Are you okay?
I'm totally fine. I don't know if the painting there is fine, but
Oh my
that's
God.
okay. It
Okay.
will not overwhelm me because I know it will be all right.
We have skills to not allow this to overwhelm us. And okay, so here's what I love about this, Tracey, is, and I teach live video, and I
Yeah.
have so many colleagues and clients and students that are like, I can't go live because what if something happens? What if the dog barks? What if I sneeze? What if the doorbell rings? And here we are, and a painting literally fell off the wall. Jill said the stage props are failing in the background, and we're fine. Right? Tracey and I are fine.
We're doing it. We're fine.
We didn't die.
No.
He didn't stop watching us, right?
No, we are good.
Here we are. Okay, so, oh my gosh. So as long as you're okay and you're not going to step on any glass, let's go back and talk about the society, because I do, especially.
Yeah. So bringing women together in a community as a group is what this program is all about.
Yeah.
It's a 3-month program. We spend an hour of live coaching every week.
Mm-hmm.
There's touch points that I have with people in the group, like laser coaching calls, some one-on-ones are in there. It is designed for ADHD brains, absolutely, because those kinds of strategies work for all brains.
Okay.
So it is definitely an ADHD friendly program. And it's focused on 3 components. And we touched on them today. One is mindset.
Uh-huh.
One is having concrete strategies, to implement every day.
Right.
And the third one is a whole bunch of ways to really start listening more often to our intuition. Because when we can do that overwhelm it's amazing how it begins to shed, because you can trust your decisions.
Yeah.
And you can trust that, just like the painting, it's okay. You
can't trust the nail that was holding the painting up, but
no, those I can't. But besides that, so that's what that group program is all about. I'll be offering it again the first week in April. Okay. And I'd love for your audience who are interested, they'll have a 10% discount on that as just a freebie. And you can hop on a wait list on my website, which is Tracey with an EY, BromleyGoodwin.com.
I love it. Yeah. And I know Jill has the link to the Lessen the Overwhelm Society.
Awesome.
TraceyBromleyGoodwin.com / with the Lessen the Overwhelm Society, and where they can get on that wait list. Just put that into the comments. Remember, you guys, Tracey with an EY is going to give you 10% off just because you're part of my audience. So I think that's really generous. Yeah. And then also you brought a free download, which I think everybody needs to grab. You want to tell them about it?
Yeah. Yep. So it's 10 strategies. So it goes beyond the 3 strategies. There's more in there on ways you can lessen overwhelm that are not complicated, because the goal is, when working on overwhelm, of course, is not to be doing more, but to do things differently. So you're not adding on another step. You're just taking a different step than the one you might currently be taking. So that's more strategies on how to do that.
I like that. You're not adding more, you're doing things differently. I like that. That's awesome. That's another quote graphic you need to have.
Yeah. I'm going to write that down.
Yes, write that down. Jill, write that down for us. Tracey, thank you so much for being here today. Overwhelm is something that I hear about all the time from my audience. And you, I know, do too, based on what you shared with us from the time you were helping parents with their kids with ADHD until now. It seems like we talked about, it just permeates all humans, no matter what age, and all the things we just talked about. And it can just be so debilitating. I mean, I know that how debilitating it can be for people. And it also, this is the other thing that, and I say this every week, it's like, no matter how experienced we are in something or how successful we are, we still have days where we feel like that. And
absolutely,
it comes back to what you said about, it's really just a human a human thing that we just experience regardless.
Absolutely. And I think it can open doors to what else is out there. When you start lessening it, it's like all the stuff pops up, or you start opportunities pop up.
Right.
They've been there all along, but when you're overwhelmed, you can't see it sometimes.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much again for being here. You guys, if you're catching us on replay and you have questions for Tracey, I want you to pop those into the comments and tag her. She is a member of my Facebook group. If you're on YouTube and you have a question for Tracey, I will see it and I will get her to hop in and answer that for you. If you guys are loving this content, I want you to save it into your favorites and create your own library of awesome videos, or better yet, join me in my free Facebook group. If you are not a member of this group, you need to be in it. You guys, we welcomed, I think, close to 130 new members just in the last 3 days of this week. And the community is unbelievable. We have almost 2,500 entrepreneurs just like you in the Facebook group. It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur. Get visible, grow your email list and your income. And you can promote your offers in my group anytime. Everybody in there is super supportive. Mm-hmm. You can post your business tips for other members. You can network with other members in the group. I believe it's the best Facebook group on the platform. And be here live with me every Thursday at 11:30 Central. Put it on your calendar, set a phone alarm, because we are bringing content to you. It'll either be me bringing you a live training from the vault, or it'll be a guest expert like Tracey. We also do entrepreneurial inspiration interviews where I interview the members of the group about their journey, and it helps us normalize overwhelm like we talked about today. And that conversation also helps us normalize the entrepreneurial journey and talk honestly about it and transparently about it, which is not something we hear a lot in the online space. So I always look forward to those, and I know you guys do too. The biggest thing I want you to remember this week is don't go it alone. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Some days everybody wants to buy what you're selling, and other days nobody can remember your name. And if you think you are alone, you are absolutely not. I want you to get into our group, get into a community or a group coaching program like Tracey's, and let other people support you. Also want you to have a great balance of the week and weekend. And remember, when one of us rises, we all rise. So we have got to keep cheering each other on. Tracey, thank you again. These strategies are amazing. You guys grab her free things, get on her wait list.
Thank you. So much fun.
Yeah, you bet. I will see you guys next week.